What's up, Trainee Acts? Welcome to this week's Triathlon News Day Tuesday, which hasn't happened in quite a number of weeks, and we've been saving up. Actually, basically this past week has been a whole lot of really interesting news in the world of cannabis, CBD, marijuana, wacky tobacco, doping with WADA, the World Anti-Doping Association, and controversy with the new fast Nike shoes. All kinds of things were a little saucy out there this past week. What's up, triathletes? Welcome to this week's Triathlon News Day Tuesday, where every single Tuesday, as long as I'm not traveling and we aren't recovering from Kona, we go over what's gone on in the triathlon world over the previous week, and then Thanks, Pete. Where every single Tuesday we go over what's gone on over the previous week, in this case week, and a little bit to catch up. Make sure you stick around to the end where everyone's favorite part of Triathlon News Day is shared. That's a story from the Trainee Act community, and full links to everything we talk about are in the description below. Let's start off with USAT, USA Triathlon, forming the first national partnership with a CBD manufacturer, Pure Spectrum. Now, this is a sponsorship where Pure Spectrum is sponsoring USAT until 2023. Now, there are some things that are fairly interesting about this. The super informed out there might know that some athletes, Loren Goss for example, have been banned for a number of months for using a CBD topical lotion that ended up getting mixed with some THC. Now, why Pure Spectrum is interesting, and I do support this while being a little bit miffed that pals like Loren Goss are getting popped for doping and banned for quite a number of months, is that Pure Spectrum uses third-party testing to confirm that every single batch that they produce is free of THC. Now, CBD is accepted. THC is the psychoactive part of the cannabis plant, the part that actually gets you high, and it's apparently free of all of that. So it's good that they're setting some standards, just kind of crappy that people are getting caught in the middle of this transition from a illegal CBD, THC, marijuana, hemp use kind of time to a time where it really needs to be accepted and rules need to be updated to understand how they're going to deal with it. Speaking of doping, WADA, the World Anti-Doping Association, has stated that they are going to be funding 3 different projects that are going to be using AI to detect doping violations. Now, my original thought was, okay, they're going to be using AI to look at abnormal cycling performances or abnormal performances in events. Well, no, that's not the case. What they're looking at doing is looking at the blood passport. Now, this is your unique identifier and the things that they can pick out in your blood that show that it is your blood. And what they're looking at doing is pairing all of those existing tests with some artificial intelligence so that it's less of a manual process, and they're able to hopefully detect more nuances and get ahead of basically this race where doping regulations come here and tests go here, and then people get ahead and cheat it, and then the thing has to go here and then there and then there. So they're trying to get way ahead of that with artificial intelligence. Now, there is more controversy out there, if that wasn't enough. The new Nike shoe line. This is the Nike 4%, the Nike Next Percent, the Nike Alpha Fly that was used by Eliud Kipchoge to help run under 2 hours in a marathon distance for the first time ever. Where the controversy comes in is that the current International Association of Athletic Federations rules state that a piece of running equipment cannot give an athlete an unfair advantage, and it has to be easily available to all. Now, why those exact terms are controversial is because Nike has patented that enhanced shoe, we'll call it, effect. So what they've got is a shoe that is extremely expensive, and for those athletes who are on contracts with Saucony, with Asics, with Adidas, they can't actually go and run in these enhanced Nike shoes. And what's been shown in study after study is that the fastest times and the best efficiency is done with those Nike shoes. So unless you are either unsponsored or you're sponsored by Nike, you're going to be at a significant disadvantage. Or if you are just like the rest of us, age groupers, and you don't have $300 to $400 to spare, you are also going to be at a disadvantage. So they haven't really said what they're going to do about it, but they've got to at least think about how to make these Nike enhanced shoes available to all somehow within these rules, because as I read it right now, my uninformed Canadian opinion is that it does violate the current language that they're using. Ironman announced a couple of new races. The first Ironman in Finland. This is the northernmost full Ironman distance that there's ever been, held by World Triathlon Corporation, the company that owns Ironman. It's going to be in Finland in 2020 on August 8th. They also announced that Ironman Portugal on September 27th, 2020 is going to occur, and they moved the Latin American Championship to Ironman Cozumel. So a little bit of mixing, a little bit of expanding for Ironman. Ironman did have a few races with some pro results out there. The first edition of Half Ironman Waco occurred in Texas with Sam Appleton and Jackie Herring winning. Kevin Morrill and Lisa Hotteler won the Half Ironman in Marrakesh, and Javier Gomez won his first full Ironman distance race at Ironman Malaysia in the hottest conditions that he says he's ever raced in. This coming from Javier Gomez, who's been racing for upwards of 2 decades in some of the most brutal conditions that they tend to put a lot of these ITU races in. That says a lot. The women's side of that Ironman was won by Tessa Cortez, kind of surprisingly, because for at least a little while, Jocelyn McCauley had as much as a 17-minute lead on the run, and then she just vanished from social media. The next photo that I saw was her saying that she did not expect to wake up in a hospital the next morning. So that heat was real, yo. Before we get into the Trainee Act story of this week, there's a little bit unique update on the podcast. We just released a podcast that was just NTK and I talking about the 2 bikes a week system that we've outlined in our new triathlon bike training book that is specifically designed for those developing triathletes in their first few years in triathlon. You can go listen to that podcast and get kind of a summary of what those 2 workouts each week are, or go to triathlonbikefoundations.com where you can get the ebook, the audiobook, or the link to the Amazon paperback you can get is there. This weekend, we're going to be interviewing Gustav Eden, the very surprise winner from the Half Ironman World Championships. And I can tell you, this guy has been just a riot to follow on social media since he won. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Let's get into this week's Trainee Act story, which is a little bit of a quick one and a little bit of a unique one. And it goes, "Hi Taren, my name is Roberto. I live in Toronto. I've been using Team Trainee Act since it was launched." Unrelated to this, but thanks Roberto, that's awesome. "My initial plan was to do 70.3 Mont Tremblant in June, Barrelman in September, and achieve one of my dreams, to complete a full Ironman in Arizona in November. 2 weeks before 70.3 Mont Tremblant, I fell during one of my long training rides and I hit my head. Fortunately, I had my helmet, which saved my life. I wasn't going very fast, but I was riding against a strong wind, so this could happen to anyone. Nothing wrong was identified after 2 CT scans, and I continued my training normally and raced 70.3 Mont Tremblant. After my fall, I started having constant headaches that got really painful, and at the end of July, I was on pain relief meds all the time. I repeated the CT scan, which found a considerable amount of blood in my head between my skull and brain. I was admitted for an urgent head surgery, which was successful. This week, a month after my surgery with no training at all, I repeated the scan and results, which were very good. I was allowed to restart my training slowly, and if everything goes well, hopefully I'll be able to achieve my dream and do my first Ironman in Arizona on November 24th this year, which will also be my 41st birthday. I'm extremely happy for being able to train again, and more than anything, happy to be alive. I want to alert everyone to always wear their helmets while training, riding to work, or even just casually. At the hospital, I was informed that what happened to me is not unusual, and a lot of people don't realize how important it is to have a helmet every time you are on a bike. I've attached a picture with my kids on their bikes and definitely in helmets. Wish you all good training and see you all around. All the best, Roberto Kling. Thanks, Roberto, and good public service announcement to people like me. Even casually, yeah, and TK and I will go to football games not wearing our helmets. And seeing that this can even happen with a helmet on, that's real. Good luck to you, Alberto. Happy early birthday. I want to hear how you do in Arizona. I'll see on Team Trainee Act how you do. So thank you very much for sending that in. If anyone else wants to share their story here, we love hearing these stories, even if it's not about weight loss or depression, overcoming achievements and obstacles, things like that. Even just stories like this that help send a message about improving our lives through triathlon and being safe when we're in triathlon. Email that all in to Taren at triathlontaren.com. Make sure you include some race photos of what's going on. And if you like these news days, make sure you subscribe. Later, Trainee Acts. It's a new news day set, first time. We're gonna fill out these walls with some stuff. You'll get there.